Good morning, dear Stitchers. It's Judy with JBW Designs, and I want to welcome you back to my Flosstube channel. This is episode number 103, and it is February 20th. Now, I had planned to record a week ago, but several things have occurred, and you'll understand when I explain in just a minute. But first, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for taking the time to watch, for writing wonderful comments and sending emails. I just love your correspondence. It's so affirming, and I feel like I have friends all over the place. I'm always surprised when I see a note and they'll say, "Oh, I can't come to visit you, but I live in Washington State," or "I live in New Zealand." So it's really quite remarkable. So let me tell you about what I've been dealing with the last 10 days. First of all, a cold, just a head cold that won't go away. And then secondly, and you'll see I look a little bit like a chipmunk. I had surgery on my face on Monday, and they had to remove a cancerous spot. And I will tell you that the scar is quite a bit longer than I expected. So thus all the bandages, trying to cover it up and keep it clean. So let's move on. There are other more important things to think about. Everything will be okay. You know, these things just take time. So this video is going to be a little bit different. Just one second here. Than most of my videos, because I love showing you the new releases. I have all the models right here to my right. I will tell you all about them, but I'm also hoping that there will be shop owners who want to watch. And excuse me. And in that regard, I'm not going to have my usual format. So I'm not going to have the shop of the week, my prizes, the quotations, the show and tell of all of your beautiful stitching. So I hope to do a regular video in a few weeks, so keep your fingers crossed. So let me first start with the Nashville Needlework Market. I'm sure you've all heard about it. If not, it is a wholesale market that's held in Nashville every year in March, first weekend in March, and it is a show for shop owners. So shop owners are going to the market, and all the vendors, which is what I am, would take a room, and we take up 5 floors of the hotel, and the shop owners go from room to room, and they're looking at all the wonderful new releases. So this is the first year in over 35 years that I will not be in Nashville. And I will tell you, it's very hard because I have made so many friends through the years with shop owners, with other vendors, etc. So when next weekend or 2 weekends, I'll really be missing them. But I do have someone who is a vendor there, and I'm very excited about this, who is going to represent me. And that is Teresa and Brian with Needle Bling Designs, and they are fabric dyers. And their fabric, if you haven't used it, it is just beautiful. I think I have at least 1 or 2 models here to show you. And so they will have all my new models, and so the shops will have a chance. Some shops will just order from me directly ahead of time. Other shops will be shopping at market, and so all of my models and my new books will be there. So that's wonderful news. I'm so excited. They're just wonderful to work with. So what's new? There are 8 titles for market. Now, one of them you've seen already, and I'll tell you about that again at the end in case someone missed that part. But I'm going to go through each design. I don't have the new booklets yet. I actually have only the mock-up of what the booklet is going to look like, but at least I can talk to you about what it will be when you purchase it. So first, let me start with this one. This is called Anna's Rose Basket, and this is based on an antique design that I purchased, 6 or 8 months ago, and I just love it. And if you look at it and you think, that looks kind of familiar, it actually looks a lot like, but not the same, as the design I released last year called the Georgian Floral. What was it called? It's terrible. Georgian Floral something. I can't remember. Anyhow, I just thought this would be a wonderful companion, and I want you to look at the finishing. It is absolutely exquisite. So I will put the notes on who my finishers are, put those people in the notes below. This is finished by Michelle, and she is with My Finishing Touch. And I would encourage you to follow her on Instagram, because she posts pictures of all of the finishes that she does for her customers. Look at the fabric she chose for the back. It's just gorgeous. So if you're looking for a good finisher, I would highly recommend her. And as I say, I will put her name in the notes below. So let me tell you a little bit about this piece. I'll try to read and hold it up at the same time. So this is worked on Tabbycat linen. It is a 36 count. The color is just the ticket. Now, as I remember, Tabbycat, I believe, is either Australian dyer, I'm not sure. So we know that that is not necessarily going to be easy to get. But you can see that it is just a very lovely pale neutral. And I started doing something different with my booklets this time, and I've forgotten who recommended it. But they said, why don't you find a DMC color that is equivalent to your fabric color? Because the shop owners would really appreciate that. So if they know, for instance, that this fabric is very close to DMC 342, that might help them figure out the tone that they need to pick out, help their customers pick out. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? It's fairly small. The finished size is, I have to turn it around because the booklet, as I say, is not finished, is 5 inches by 3.2. And I used a variety of fibers in this. I used classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, and I always give DMC equivalents. So the booklet, I can show you, is going to look like this, with the piece on the front, and then the chart and all the information on the sizes and what you need to purchase on the back. So I hope that helps you. And again, that's Anna's Rose Basket. So the next piece that I want to share with you is one that it's actually very similar to something that I designed years and years ago, and it is called the Art of Quilting. So let me grab this one and show you what it looks like. I love the graphic quality of quilts. I just think they're just so striking. I've always liked them. And so I just found 9 of my favorite quilts to include in this design. I did just a simple border around the edge. And let me look and study it and tell you some more about it. So I worked this on a 36 count atomic ranch, and the color is Parchment, which is a very, as you can see, almost an off-white. I would say almost like an antique white. It's got a little cream in it. And the finished size on 36 is 7 by 7. It's almost square, not exactly. And the fibers that I chose to use were Classic Colorworks, again, and Weeks Dye Works with DMC equivalents. Now this booklet, the chart that is on the inside, because the chart is fairly large, will be like the full size of this sheet. And so that will help you a lot, because I need to make sure that the charts are very easy for you to read. So once again, this is the Art of Quilting. This was finished. The frame came from Lisa, who owns L&M Framing in Ohio. And again, I will put her email address below. I have number of pieces that she did. And what I love about Lisa is I send her the piece, and then she sends me photos of 5 or 6 moldings, and it's easy to see what it's going to look like. And if I don't like any of those, then she'll find some others. So she's very, very easy to work with. So that was the Art of Quilting. All right, the next design that I have to show you, if I can get it out here, is called Creating Comfort. And let me grab this one. So one of the joys, and I know you feel this way too, that I find in stitching is that when I am stitching, I just feel such a sense of calm. And I find it very comforting. As somebody said to me, it also gives her much joy, and I think that's true for a lot of us. And so this was, the reason it's called Creating Comfort is the quotation reads, "The joy we find in needlework adds comfort to our lives." And I've included a number of antique borders, a tiny little house and fence and birds. And let's talk about what this is stitched on. So this was actually stitched. You'll see my face here is still swollen. So sometimes when I'm speaking, I'm kind of, let's just say it's awkward. So if you're looking at me thinking, Judy doesn't look right, you'll know why. So this is a 37 count linen. It is called Russian tea cake. The equivalent in DMC is a 746. And this is worked again in my favorite hand-dyed fibers, classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, and I do give DMC equivalents. The finished size of this, let's look at that too. I have to keep turning this around. It is about 7 by 6. And again, the frame is from L&M Framing in Ohio. I love it. I think it's just striking. And the quote reads, "The joy we find in needlework adds comfort to our lives." I think I might have said that already. You can tell I'm not working on all cylinders these days, right? All right, the next one that I want to review with you is called, let's see, let me grab it. It's called a Floral Script. And if you've been with me a while, you know I absolutely love alphabets. I love the fonts, and I also love antique borders. So a floral script is made up of many letters, all from different alphabets, that all looked graceful to me. And then in addition, all of the borders that you see here come from antique samplers. So I have quite a collection of sampler books, and I'm also often pouring through those to look for borders that I think just look beautiful to me. So one of the things you could do with this is just take out a single letter and use one of the borders and just make it just a very simple, tiny little pin pillow. This is worked on a 36 count linen from R&R, and the linen is called Espresso. And I just love the linen. I love the frame. The finished size of this on 36 is approximately 6 by 9. The frame again is by Lisa at L&M Framing in Ohio, and I just thought it really set off the design. So I see this piece also. You don't have to look at in pinks. Choose a color that you absolutely love, and I think you'll be so happy when it's finished. So let me show you. I just finished last night a second model of this design. It's not even framed yet, but I loved the way it turned out. And if I just hold it up on top of here, on this version, you'll be able to see what it looks like. This again is worked in a very soft gray blue. My linen that I used was a 36 count Edinburgh, and the color is called Silver Moon. It's a very pale, I would say blue-gray, very, very pale. And I used Weeks Dye Works color called Jaybird. And I just love the way that one turned out. So see how different they look in such different colorways. All right, let's put this here. I'm trying not to knock anything over, of course. The next one that I want to show you, I hope I'm not going too quickly, is called Let It Snow. And this one many of you know about in a way because I showed you, I think I showed you the model of this, and it's been quite a few months. And I said, or someone had worked it, that was it. Someone had sent me a picture because they had worked the design, and it was out of print. And I had quite a few people say to me, oh, I love that. Why don't you bring it back? Snowmen are so popular. So let's show it right side up. This is Let It Snow. I worked a new model of this one. Let's see what it was. Grab all my notes. All right. This one, again, was worked on an R&R linen espresso. And I think I used primarily DMC colors in this. I don't have my notes on that. I'm pretty sure I did. The frame I absolutely love. This is from an Etsy shop, and I've talked about this framer company before. They have so many moldings. I mean, it's just fabulous. All different widths. They have many different colors, and their work is outstanding, and I think the price is reasonable, as is Lisa's at L&M Framing. I think hers is very reasonable too. So I would encourage you, if you're looking for good framers, to try one of the two that I have mentioned. So this is Let It Snow, and I'm happy with it. Results of that one, and happy that I can re-release it. The next one that I want to show, I know I'm going very fast, but hopefully you're taking notes, you're writing things down. I'm going to encourage you, if you see anything you like, that you contact your favorite shop, either an independently owned needlework shop or an online store. I'm already getting orders from quite a few places who regularly order my patterns. And I've been thinking I should really make a list of all of the shops who are on my automatic, because what that means is whatever I release, they order all of them. And these shops are spread all over the U.S. Acorns and Threads in Oregon, and In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia, Needle Arts in Florida. I know I'm leaving out a whole list of people, but if you're interested in knowing a shop in your area, perhaps, you can always email me and say, Judy, do you have any shops on your automatic that are in my area? And then if they're not, that's okay, because shops also just decide I'm going to order whatever I want, which is just fine. So the last one, let's see if no, I'm missing one. Okay, I'm trying to go in order here. All right, let's keep moving along, right? So this one, let's see here. I've got to pull out my models of this one. I worked 2 models of this again, and this design is called, I was doing another Patriotic of the icing. So let me hold it up right here. And I worked 2 models of this, as I said. One of them is worked on, let's see, this is an antique white, a 36 count. It's worked over 2, and I finished it on a scalloped board. Now, the size of this when it's finished is approximately 3 to 4 inches wide, and this is a 6-inch scallop. I carry these. I don't have, my website, as you know, is not working. So shops just have to call or write to me and say, Judy, I'd like one of your round discs for finishing. So I have the 6-inch, which is pre-painted, and it's made by some friends of mine, Michelle and her husband Craig. They just do beautiful work. So this comes all finished. I also have smaller scallop discs, which come in 4 and 5-inch sizes. So if that's something you're interested in, the finishing on this, I love doing the finishing on this. I just mounted it on a piece of comic board with a little bit of batting behind it, a little bit of felt, and then I covered a second board, if you can see, with a tiny little red fabric with tiny white stars on it. And then I mounted the design on the fabric, and then both of those pieces were glued to the board. And I don't know if you can see, but I like using twisted cording to finish off a design. So this is a very tiny piece of red twisted cording that's used around the edge, and then I added, see if you can see this, a little red bow and a tiny silver star at the bottom. This design was so much fun to do. And there are a couple of elements that probably, at first you probably wouldn't even know. Of course, there are 13 stars, and each of the buildings here I did some research on to find a house that would be typical of 1776. So I found actually in one of my antique magazines, and it was fairly recent, a picture of a house that was being restored that was built in this era, and it had exactly that shape. And then I wanted to do a barn, and I thought, oh, I need to see what a barn would have looked like at that time. So I did the same with a little barn, and then with this simple little house here. And I included flags. And the reason I named it Of Thee I Sing is that every time I sing the Star Spangled Banner or America the Beautiful, I think of how proud I am of the country that we live in. And so this is kind of just a wonderful patriotic piece to express that. So let me show you the second model of that. And this one was stitched on a fabric from Needle Bling, the company that I mentioned earlier. And this fabric is a 36 count, and it's called Lightning. And it too is just a beautiful pale kind of bluish gray. I wanted to give it kind of a background of a pale sky. So again, it was mounted on one of my wooden discs. This fabric is just a navy blue with white polka dots. Again, I used a little bit of cording, a tiny bit of red cording. You can see just a little bit of that. I made twisted cording for the hanger on the top, and then I just added a little blue bow at the base with a star from just another button company. So they were just so much fun to finish. I loved the process of finishing these, so it's always fun to share that with you. I did have someone ask me recently about twisted cording and finishing. So in the future, I've covered that in past videos. I will try to cover that again in a future video. So what is the next one? So this is the 7th one, and I love the finishing on this. So this is a wedding announcement, and this is a pattern that also was out of print. And let me show you what this looks like in the beautiful fabric on the back. So it is a very simple design. All it is a border with the names of the bride and groom, the date. And someone just wrote to me and said, when I posted it on Instagram, they said, you know, this would be wonderful as an anniversary sampler. And I hadn't even thought about that, and I agree, I think it would be perfect. So this was finished by another one of my finishers. Her name is Terry, and she is on Etsy, and her shop is called The Old, and Old is O-L-D-E, Needle Shop, and it's all together. It's all like one word on Etsy. Again, she does beautiful finishing, just gorgeous. It's just perfect. I love the fabric, I love the trim, and the ribbon she chose. So let me tell you about this design. This was stitched on an antique white Edinburgh linen, and it's in DMC fibers, and the finished size is approximately 4 by 5. It's interesting because my neighbor, Sue, who works for me, said, when I showed her that I was re-releasing this, she said, I have worked that design. She said, I can't tell you how many many times, because it doesn't take that long. And sometimes you want a wedding sampler to be just kind of simple and sweet. And so I could also see this as a wedding shower gift. So that is a wedding announcement. And the cover of the booklet, of course, will look like this. And, all right, now we're on to our very last one, which you have seen in the past, but sometimes people are new to my videos. So the last one that I have to show you is right here. I had to look at my table a minute. This is called a Patriotic Round. And this pattern, which I showed you in the past, is a little different than most of mine. So Yarn Tree, who is one of our distributors, and they also run the Needlework market, asks all of us, I don't know if they just asked people, I'm not sure how we got the invitation actually. Anyhow, they asked me if I'd like to design an exclusive for Nashville that they would sell. So they have the rights, Yarn Tree, to sell this design until April 8th. And so I'm giving them a month from the date of the end of market until March into April. And so shops have two ways to order this. They can order it through Yarn Tree, and they use Yarn Tree a lot, so that would not be unusual. But they can also order directly from me after April 9th. So let me show you what this one looks like. And this is made up of all the motifs that I could think of that would fit in a tiny little space that would go with our 250th birthday. So I have, of course, flags and a ship and the Liberty Bell. Excuse me. The Liberty Bell, a drum, a banner, glasses, I thought of Ben Franklin, banners, stars, and incidentally, scattered throughout this are 13 stars. So it was very intentional to use all of the things that would go with our 250th birthday. So I worked this both in red, and this design is worked over two on an antique white linen on 36 count. And this was finished by my friend, oh gosh, that's terrible. Oh, I'm just having a mental block. It will come to me. It will come to me. She's a friend who does finishing for me, but she doesn't do it for others. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's terrible, isn't it, when you can't remember? So this she finished just beautifully with a red cording and a beautiful striped bow and a twisted cording. Karen, I am so sorry, Karen. Sometimes we need help, right? So then I also worked this design over one in 2 shades of blue. And I loved what she did with this one, which I had never thought of before. She mounted it on a double disc. So we have a smaller disc here and the larger one in the background. And again, she finished it with twisted cording, a beautiful little pearl button, a patriotic ribbon, and cording at the top. So those are the 8 designs for Nashville, and I'm very excited. I wish I could be there, but I'm so grateful for all of you for stopping by and taking the time to see what I've been working on for the last few months. I want to send hugs to you and tell you what dear, dear friends you have all become. So the best way to reach me is judy@jbwdesigns.com. I will list my phone in the notes below. And also the best way to reach me, as I said, is my email. I am on Instagram, judy.whitman. And also I have a Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page. And it's a wonderful collection of people who have worked my designs, and they post pictures of what they've done, and they're often done in other colors, in other fibers. It's just wonderful, and other finishing techniques. So we all really enjoy seeing those. So take care, everyone. I'll see you in hopefully 2 weeks, and thank you. Bye-bye.